Hometown news and information station.
Welcome back. I'm Vincent Perryman and you're watching Legalese. Joining us on our show is Taylor Berger. We are discussing Memphis Area Legal Services Low-Income Taxpayer Clinic. Taylor, before the break we had talked about some different things that you guys see in the clinic on a daily basis. The earned income tax credit being disputed with the IRS, and also discharge of indebtedness income. What are some other things you see?
Yeah, one other one that a lot of people don't know about, but it comes up fairly frequently in domestic issues when we have domestic problems. I guess it'd be best explained with an example. We had a lady come in who had a bit of a sordid past. Had been involved in drugs in a prior marriage, and had subsequently straightened out her life. Had been sober for I think 6 or 7 years. Had divorced her old husband and hadn't heard from him in quite some time. The reason she came in to us is because she was suddenly getting notices from the IRS that she owed money based on those tax years back when her husband had essentially cheated on his tax return and gotten her to sign as a joint filer. Of course, they didn't know where the husband was because he was still, involved in that culture, and they found our client who had a good job, had just gotten remarried, and basically saw an opportunity to collect. Well, fortunately, the tax code gives some relief to that, what we call an innocent spouse. Our client was an innocent spouse. She wasn't responsible for the tax debt of her husband, and she had basically been forced to sign the return. So there's some relief in the tax code that is available for her, and we were able to pursue that and get that relief for her, and basically have that tax debt put where it belongs, on the ex-husband and not her.
Now, when somebody, because IRS sends out all sorts of different correspondence, and if somebody's getting correspondence and they think that they indeed have a tax controversy, how do they get in touch with you all, and how is the clinic structured as far as dealing with a new client and intake?
Okay. Well, first of all, I would definitely urge someone that if they receive something from the IRS, open it and respond. A lot of the time it's fairly simple, and they just need a little bit of documentation. And a lot of the notices actually are pretty clear. And a lot of the time, if you just send in a birth certificate, your problem is solved. Okay? If you try that, or you feel overwhelmed and you fit our income guidelines, then you call up Memphis Area Legal Services. You can find the number online. It's also phone book, but it's 523-8822, and there's a intake person who will talk to you, get you to Anidra Lomax, who's our staff attorney that deals only with tax issues. She's got a lot of experience, dealing with all the types of issues that we face, and she'll talk to you, get you in, and we'll look into the situation and see how we can help. From that point on, basically, your case will either be worked in-house by Anidra and some other assistants there. We have some University of Memphis law students who assist in the clinic as well. But there's also the chance that we will pair you with an attorney who's volunteered to help, who obviously will not charge for his services. He'll get some, or she'll get some credit from the CLE Commission, some education credit, but we'll take on your case and help you there. So one of those two ways we're able to help.
Well, and I guess one thing that a lot of people fail to remember is, some people have the impression of, okay, I'm going to call this number, I'm going to give them my documentation, they're going to take care of everything for me, and that relieves me of my responsibilities. So what, in the clinic's view, are the responsibilities that they need the clients to come in to take care of?
Mm-hmm. When people come in with tax problems, a lot of the time it's indicative of bigger life problems, of kind of an unorganized state of financial affairs at the very least, and certainly a lot of that's excusable, and we're not out to blame anybody. We want to be able to help them, but you're right, it does require, it's a two-way street, and when a client comes in, they have to really want help and be willing to help us help them. As I said, a lot of what IRS practice, tax practice is simply getting the right documents to the right people to prove what you need to prove, to get what you deserve, or displace what you don't, what you've been assessed and you don't know. So that requires some knowledge on our part about where to go, what to do, but it requires assistance from the taxpayer, the client, to provide us with what we need to know to be able to show the IRS the truth.
Right. Yeah, and it's one of those things, dealing with the IRS, it's a corporate sort of maze structure that, you and I as tax attorneys actually understand. And it makes it very hard for a layman to understand, well, I called the IRS number, but it wasn't the right division, and things of that nature. So, it is one of these that a little bit of guidance sometimes goes a long way. When we return, we will continue our discussion about Memphis Area Legal Services Low-Income Taxpayer Clinic. Please stay with us. Cut that.